Hey, good. It is early, people. It is 8 a.m. Actually, it's 8:02 right now. Welcome to a special morning edition of Sober Talk. Now, Sober Talk is a place that I created for people who want to get sober. They need to get sober, or perhaps are just sober curious. Whatever the reason, I am glad you're here. A little bit about the show. I have quit. I have quit drinking. What was that? I have quit drinking many of times. I've gone a month. I've gone 6 months. I've gone a year. My last big run was six. No, it was 2 years. And I realized that being alcohol free is one thing, but being alcohol free and happy, well, that's a whole other thing. So this time I'm doing it a little bit differently. I am working the steps, and boy, I got to tell you, I have high hopes. I used to make fun of anyone, or I used to make fun of AA and all that stuff, and that's because I was an idiot. But I think any kind of 12-step program, be it chocolate, gambling, eating, whatever, alcoholism, drug addiction, boy, these steps just they help. I think they'll help anyone out, even if you don't have any issues. So I really, I love the steps, and but the show, man, we got people who watch who never did the steps and have been sober 10 years, been sober 20 years. This is just an outlet for anyone who has an issue or lives with someone who has an issue or whatever. So in the description, if you want to listen to this on a podcast, we do have the podcast up and running. It is Sober Talk Live. You can find it on all your Stitchers and all that stuff. The Facebook page is Sober Talk Live, which you're watching right now. Some people are watching on Tom Mabe comedy. I share over there just to kind of spread the word, but eventually I'm going to funnel everyone to Sober Talk, and they don't have to watch it on Mabe in America or Tom Mabe Live. There's also a link in there if you want to become a supporter of the show. It's like $4.99 a month, and that will help us continue the show and all that. So yeah, so check out the descriptions for all these cool things. Let's get right to it. I want to call. Um, it's amazing. I could go live anytime and put out 5 minutes before I'm going live. Hey, he wants to go live, and we get people who'll like, I want to go live. So it is. We're trying to make this issue not so embarrassing to people and their families. Just say it is what it is. I can't drink. It's no worries.
Good morning.
Good morning, Joel. It's Tom Mabe. How are you?
Hey, I'm doing good.
Ah, man. So you're up and at 'em, huh?
Yeah, I got a wake up call this morning.
You got a wake up call. Was it? Well, hey, what are you doing up there? I love calling people at 5 a.m. Hey, what are you doing up this early? Uh, so tell us about yourself, man. Drinker, ex-drinker, user. What's your poison, brother?
Oh man, I started drinking as a young teenager, and I loved
Oh, God,
it.
what's not to love? It's the greatest thing in the world. Love
Oh
drinking.
man, I knew that's something I wanted to do for the rest of my life.
Which would have been a short life for me. I tell you what, if I would have kept on continuing drinking the rest of my life. Um, so when have you quit? Or when did you quit? Or when do you want to quit? Or what's the story there?
I've heard you talk about you quit many times, and
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
man, I'm in the same boat.
Yeah.
Um, I I don't know. I think maybe the first time I quit, um, maybe I was 19. So it was a problem. It was a problem then.
Yeah.
But
I get it.
yeah, and it's with me it was a roller coaster. Um, then I quit for 9 years, and a couple of years ago I picked it back up, and so I've been on the wagon, off the wagon, and currently I'm back on the wagon. So
So when you quit for 9 years, what made you go back out? Most people go, "Yeah, I've got this. Hey, I've gone 9 years. I gave myself a break." When you went back out, w- uh, did it? They say the disease or the allergy or whatever you want to call it. People have this debate. I don't care what you call it. We just can't drink. Did you find it was a progressive disease? Did you pick up right where you left off?
basically, um, I progressed, pretty quickly to drinking heavily, and I may have started off with a couple of beers here and there, but within a month or two, you know, it was back to just drinking a lot.
Yeah, yeah. So you went back after the 9 years. You went back. You said, okay, well, uh, uh, people go back out because they forget. I remember.
You
And
know that
go ahead.
that's right, and that it, and I've been thinking about that here recently, and it was just it was hard to quit. Um,
Yeah,
and
jump
maybe
starting your sobriety is always quitting is one thing. Staying quit is the issue, and that's what I like about sober talk. I did a show last night. I do 8 p.m. and sometimes even 8 a.m. And it's just a constant reminder to say, hey, remember now. You got drunk and you stood in a bar at Gerstle's at 3 a.m. and peed. No, I didn't do that. But you have to remind yourself why you quit in the first place.
well, it doesn't take me but a minute to think about the 1 million previous episodes and instances like,
Amen,
that
brother.
I've had to. Oh man, I tell you, I it pains me to even think about it. Um, Truly, all the things that I've done to myself and people I love, and all the issues and problems, and it's just that, and I started drinking again.
Because you got used to
So
the pain. You're like, all right, I said and did things to people every time, my wife and kids and friends and loved ones, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm never drinking again. I'm never drinking again. And then some time goes by, and that hurt goes away, kind of fades, and you're like, oh, I want to drink, and then you have another. It's called a vicious cycle until you finally just break it off. But I totally hear you about being, I wish I could go back in my life with an eraser and erase some of the things. But those memories are, that's where I was. Hopefully that's not where I'm going to be. Uh, but did you did you go to therapy, or did you just white knuckle it, or did you have a church or the steps, or what? How did you do anything to keep maintenance on yourself to remind you that hey, I'm not, I can't drink?
you know what? I woke up one morning and I thought, um, I'm gonna die. I'm gonna die. I felt horrible, and I was drinking. Oh, maybe a 1.75 liter of vodka a day. Um, that's a lot.
You don't know that,
Uh,
and you're right.
uh,
You will die. And did you ever go to the doctor and getting like blood work, or he say, hey, you keep on drinking like this, you're going to die? That's what happened to me. I mean, I had some serious health issues. I mean, now my body's repairing itself. But did you actually have a doctor say, hey, man, you got to slow down? This is, if you play this movie out, I could tell you exactly how this movie's going to end, and it's going to be you being dead.
not at that time.
I see. I see.
But I will tell you, I woke up that morning and I had a couple of bottles of vodka, and I poured those down the sink. And then I called um, some family members, um, and told them what I was going through, and I wanted to quit drinking. It got a ton of support, and
Yes. Yes.
that just carried me through. It gave me enough. It got me over the hump, and I worked at it, and you know, pretty soon a year passed, two, three, four, 9 years passed, and then I started slipping back into the. I started off with O'Doul's. Oh, I want beer, but I'm not going to drink, and so I'm just going to drink these O'Douls. And then I'm
Yes.
like,
Yes.
well, I'm just going to drink three O'Douls, three. And then I was back into it, and so I've been, um, I've been trying to shake it. I haven't been putting into it what I should have been, and
So what do you
I'm
do? What do
trying.
you what are you going to do this time? A lot of people. We have people who come. A lot of people go to A. I do AA plus I do the show. Now working the steps is totally different than this show. And if you can find the right meeting, which sometimes it takes a while, that's what I love about the Zoom meetings. If you go to Google, put Zoom AA, you can find you can go to an AA meeting 3 o'clock in the morning in Australia. Anywhere you want. And I found a really good meeting in my home state in Kentucky, called the Early Worms, which I've been missing because I've been working. It's a 7 o'clock meeting. Uh,
You know, I'll tell you, I'm pretty lazy, and
you're pretty what now?
I
Late? Did you say late?
I'm pretty I'm pretty lazy,
Lazy. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, I got that.
and so I don't want to have to fool with that mess and keep up with it. So I'm telling myself if I don't beat this and stop drinking, then that's what I'm gonna have to do. That's motivation not to drink.
But I found that I got lazy and OCD. I call it piece of crap syndrome. I have a ADD really bad, and when I was a kid, it wasn't called ADD. It was called Tommy needs a spanking. And I had this avoidance behavior. That's just where I can't get stuff done, and that's what I love about this show. And I think people who join us on the show is that it's structured. You have to have structure. 7 a.m. I go for my walk. 7:30 I'm shower. I take the dogs out. 8 o'clock I'm doing sober talk. And if you structure your day, you know, it's so much easier to get things accomplished because I can't go. I can't go sit down. I can't go to the kitchen and clean up the dishes. I'm overwhelmed by, oh my gosh, did anyone not pick up after dinner last night? So I'll go, okay, first I'm going to get all the silverware off the table and off the counter, put in the sink. Now I'm going with all the cups. And then now I'm going to empty the dishwasher. I got to break it down to little steps. And in those little steps, you got to have something that contributes to your sobriety. And be it sober talk, a meeting, or a therapy. I do therapy, I do sober talk, and I do AA. Um, but I would highly suggest, I would say that a lot of people that I talk to on the show, and we have a forum on the Sober Talk page. We have a private page that you can, you know, get a lot of great advice from the people who are in that page. But it sounds like you know where you need to be, and it sounds like you know where to get. How long are you sober? Are you sober now, or are you drinking now?
No, I guess probably in July I started getting more serious about it, and I keep a diary. Um,
Yeah, a journal, great.
yeah, and so I started in July, and so I've been going a week, and then start drinking again, and then a couple of weeks, and then go another week. Um, but currently I'm on today's day 10,
No, that's yeah, that's great.
and I just one thing is boy, you can't you can't have it in your refrigerator.
Yeah, I don't,
You can't have it in your refrigerator, man. I tell you.
I was telling a story that I went to watch a still. I'm a Steelers fan. I went to watch the game with some friends over the weekend, and I was getting there and I was admiring. Now I'm day 91. I'm 91 days sober, and my buddy had Woodford and all these Knob Creek, all these. I was admiring his bourbon collection. I wasn't and his wife was like, "Oh, Jim, put that away, put that away." I'm like, "Alyssa, I'm okay. It sucks that I can't drink. I don't want it in the house either, but it is the way it is. My when I met my biological father, first thing I asked him, "Hey, do you ever drink? Do you ever issue with drinking?" And he said, "Tommy, on my side of the family, you drink or you don't drink." I'm like, "Oh, that makes sense," because and that was like 19 when I realized that I maybe okay, I can't do this. But it is not the plague. Oh my gosh. It's just something that if you're diabetic, so yeah, thanks, but I can't eat the sweets. People don't think anything of it. They're not, well, I won't eat this cake in front of you. No, just eat the damn cake. But, uh, but I hear you about having it in your house. Every time, I mean, I've gone 2 years without drinking and my wife would still have, wine coolers and wine and Zimas or whatever in little liquor fridge there in the house. And when I did go off one time that I went off, I was like six. I forget which one of my many times that I've quit drinking. It was like I was like, I need a drink, and I went right to the little fridge and got something. And so it's probably not healthy to have that stuff around if you're trying to quit. But day 10 is huge. Once I get past day 3, I'm okay. I got this. It becomes a habit. But if you're watching right now, this is not a meeting. I'm not a doctor. I'm just some dude who's holding his having his fan base, holding him accountable, um, using his fan base to be held accountable. So that's all that is. But a lot of talk to your doctor if you need to quit. Now, when you quit, did you get the shakes or anything, or were you okay doing white knuckling it and do it on your own?
You know what? I may have, you know, when I hit that 9 year stretch, when I quit drinking back then, um, I may have I may have gone through a 12 or 24 hour period of maybe uneasiness or discomfort or something like that, but really wasn't incapacitated or what have you. Now, I quit and no shakes or anything like that. But uh, I guess maybe for me, alcohol was or is not just the physiological, but the psychological. It's for me it was habit forming to have something there,
Yes,
and now it's not there.
I see.
Um, you know, Forget the alcohol aspect of it, but that the it's like when you were talking about when you eat chicken wings, it makes you want a beer.
Yeah, yeah, and those things, and let's take a second. I want to read a couple of these comments. I'm able to see the comments now. Carrie set me up where I could not just see. Um, I used to only see four comments, but now I can see all of the comments. Let's see here. My story: when I quit drinking 3 years ago, I did it without help, meetings, no 12 steps or religion. My stupidity when I drank scared me sober. Stay away from people who drink alcohol for a while until you can trust yourself. Talking about it would probably drive me crazy. It's funny. I was supposed to do a guy's trip. I live in Kentucky and I have a place on the beach on Hilton Head Island, and I would go down and you go to the beach. You have to drink, and it's a big a golf community. Now my friends are golfers, and we were doing came up, let's do a guys trip like here in a couple weeks and go down to the beach. And I was talking on Sober Talk one night, and someone said, you shouldn't do that. You're only almost 3 months in, and now I'm 3 months in, but I thought I could do it. I thought I would be able to go hang with my buddies and watch them drink. But man, I don't. I want to defend. I would defend 10 days like you have now, and I'm defending 91 days.
I
Uh,
would con I would convince my if I was in that situation, I would convince myself on day one that just a couple
of course.
wasn't going to get me, and I
Mm.
would I would convince myself of that, and that's where I'd be.
And on the way home, you'd be hitting the airport bar. You would be ordering. I remember having a 45-minute flight. So I'm kind of ashamed. I'm not kind of nervous about drinking. Can I go get a beer? And yeah, I have a whole team of lawyers in my head, telling me, no, Tom, you need to drink. You should drink. It's the law. You should. I'm constantly fighting those brain demons. Uh, but it's pretty wild. So you're 10 days in. You've gone 9 days, and man, you think you're going to make it through the weekend?
Oh yeah, yeah. I'm very conscious of what I'm doing, what I need to do. Very conscious of it. I'm not going to put myself in a compromising situation. I'm not
Yeah.
going to a bar. I'm not going to put something in the refrigerator. I'm staying away from that crap. Um, I'm working at it, participating with sober talk and um, keeping my diary. And I think you and Bev have talked about structure, structure, structure
Yes.
a lot.
Yeah.
So I've been thinking about those things, about building more structure into my routine. But listen, I've got some good motivation. I've got some good motivation. I
Bills and kids.
Well, I wasn't thinking about the bills, but you're right about that.
Hmm.
Um, but I've got a great family, and I've got the sweetest grandkids, and they like me.
Yeah, so
You
far,
know,
yeah, oh yeah.
I want to be the best I can and participate with them, and I don't want them to you know what a beer can is from looking at grandpa.
Yeah, I remember my daughter when she was 3 years old. We were kind of somewhat new to this subdivision, meeting people, and Melanie said her and Kenzie are walking through the neighborhood down the sidewalk, and they met a family out in in the driveway with their kids. Hey, how's it going? And it might have been in the afternoon, I don't know, but guys, hey, you want a beer? You want a beverage? And Melanie said, no, and my 3 year goes, my daddy drinks beer all day long. And at the time,
Oh,
we both just laughed our asses off, thinking it was the, thing. Hey, real quick, Daniel D. I'm reading comments here on Facebook. Daniel D. Leon says, "I agree. I wish I could do 1 day right now." Yeah, man, getting that first day, but they say 1 day at a time. That's just not a cliche. There's really something to that. You quit 1 day, and you got okay. I'm gonna try another day, and the second day is a little easier. And then by the time you get to your third or fourth day, you just got to get those sober days under your belt. And as soon as you get the sober days under your belt, it becomes easier. But man, if anyone watching,
I
go ahead.
that well, I was gonna say, I don't fill my journal out a month ahead of time. I write, I fill my journal out every day, and I do it 1 day at a time. I don't fill it out for the month ahead of time. I do it 1 day at a time.
No. Well, brother, let's
Well,
wrap it up here. I got to call a couple other people. Anything else you want to add before? I mean, thanks for getting up early and doing this. I know it was last minute, but anything else you want to say before I have to go to the next caller?
not right now,
Well,
but
man, do it for the grandbabies. Quit, do it. Congrats on 10 days. And won't be long before you're
absolutely.
9 years in. So
Well, I'll be signing on, watching the show.
we'll be here tonight at 8 o'clock. Sober Talk, 8 p.m. Eastern Time. We've got the
Sounds
cool thing about doing it in the morning, I got a lot of my base people who are fans of the comedy are in different countries. In Australia, I got a lot of drinkers from Australia who like to pipe in. So, all right, buddy, I'll talk to you soon.
all right. Take care.
Thanks, bye. See you, Joe.
Bye.
That guy was cool as heck, huh? Let's go here. We're gonna go with this is John Cantwell. I know some Cantwells.
Hello.
Hey, is this John?
Hey, how you doing, Tom?
Yes, it is, buddy. How are you?
Hey,
So,
I'm
am I
good.
waking you up? And did I get? What are you doing up this early? You're in what? You're in
No,
Colorado? Is it like 6:25 there? Or?
overnights usually. So,
Oh, gotcha.
yeah. So this is my normal time up.
So I was going to ask you. So we talked on the phone, and or we exchanged text this morning,
Yes.
and we you were telling me about the show is all about people who want to quit drinking, they need to quit drinking, and this is a new you quit drinking because your rock bottom wasn't your rock bottom, it was your friend's rock bottom.
Yes, sir. It
What?
was yeah, a major deal. He it was back in actually it's 2009. I apologize, but I was here in Colorado actually. I'd flown up from Arizona to do a job here in Denver, and I got a call from my son's mother down there in Arizona saying, "Did you hear what happened to your buddy Travis?" And I said, "No, what?" And said he was in a real bad car accident last night, and that he was in jail. And I figured, okay, a DUI, it is, probably more than likely anyway.
Right.
And then come find out that he had basically he was 19 years old and he had a 17-year-old passenger with him, and they left their house at about 2 o'clock in the morning. Didn't have any beer left at their house, so he was going to his sister's house, just a few miles away, literally 3 miles away from the house or from the apartments we lived in, and he ran a stop sign on the way back and ended up T-boning a Saturn in a mid '80s pickup truck, and ended up killing two children and disfiguring three adults. And he
he got 24 years for that incident. And
Hey, real quick, do you have? Am I
go ahead.
hearing like the? I'm hearing like an echo. Do you have the computer on in the background or
I
something?
just turned the TV down. There you go.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
he
sorry.
killed two kids.
Correct. He killed two kids in the accident, and then yeah, I mean, he served 24 years. And what actually really ripped me up was when I got back, my tattoo artist actually, um, his fiance at the time was pregnant with his son, Travis Jr., and she had asked me if I would take her when he was born to see my tattoo artist and have his footprints put on his neck, or put on her neck.
Her neck,
And
not the baby's neck. Okay. I was
no,
like,
no, sorry.
hey,
Yeah, no,
when the
no,
baby's born, when you
yeah,
take, I like your
yeah. I was
guy.
like, geez,
He does
yeah,
good
stamp
work.
on him. Yeah, right. But so no, they yeah. So I when I was taking her and I watched him dip the ink, or dip these in the ink and stuff, and I remember sitting there in my buddy's shop and just watching this happen, and I'm just like, man. There's no way that my kids, because my children at the time were only 4 and 1, and the kids that he had unfortunately taken lives of were 7 and 11, and I just thought, there's no way that I'm not going to see my children, grow up that old, and nor will I ever be a part of something that devastated a family, especially to that extent.
So
Um,
wow. So you have not drank since then. You sworn off
correct,
alcohol.
correct, yeah,
Wow, that is a
uh,
great story. Man,
yeah,
I really wish we had a better connection. Something's going on with just the connection we have here. I don't know if the
gotcha,
phone, but man, well, thanks for sharing. That's huge.
yeah.
That's huge. So wow. So do you ever like crave alcohol, like or wish that you could drink or anything, or?
I I mean, I like okay. So actually, just recently, I'm on unfortunately because of a different incident. I'm on parole right now, and so I'm not supposed to drink alcohol at all. I'm not supposed to go to any establishment that alcohol is their primary source of business. So
Right.
I was on a work slash camping trip up to Telluride just last week actually. And my boss had said, "Hey, let's get some beers and hang out by the campfire." And I said, "Why don't you give some Budweiser Zero?" Because I do like the taste of beer. Don't get me wrong, and
Mhm.
there's I have had a beer here and there. I mean, not probably a total of a 6 pack in 13 years. Okay,
Okay.
but like at a baseball game when I live in Arizona, I go to a lot of Diamondbacks games, football games, such stadium stuff.
But
But
that's
yeah, as
great.
far
That's
as
great that
yeah,
over a course of years you've had probably a 6 pack total. Yeah, see,
yeah,
I'm not wired that way, but man, good for you because some if you're a true alcoholic or
yes sir,
a true drug addict, you could watch your family be
right.
killed by a
Well,
drunk driver and you would drink still.
absolutely.
It's just like
And that's how and that's kind of how, sorry, I apologize, they addiction in general. I've only been sober for 2 years, literally coming up on 2 years here. But I swore off alcohol, like I said, in '09. Now in 2012 my father passed away while I was doing CPR on him.
oh
And literally the next day I picked up heroin. He's a 22-year Marine veteran, and he passed away on Veterans Day.
oh
And
man.
yeah, it was ruthless, man. So I picked up heroin. From my father passed away on November 11th, 2012. November 12th, 2012, I started smoking heroin. And it progressed to shooting and blah blah blah.
Yeah, yeah.
And it got bad. It got bad. And for 14 months, until January 6th, 2014, I quit cold turkey, which I don't wish that kind of pain on anybody.
Yeah, I mean, and
That
I
is a
always try to get people to sometimes you got to do a detox, but I think no
yeah,
matter where you are, because you can, especially alcohol and benzos, you can die
mhm,
in withdrawals. You can definitely,
absolutely,
yeah. So be anyone listening, don't try to
yeah,
go cold turkey without talking with your doctor, and
absolutely.
not only be honest with yourself, but be honest with your doctor because
And yeah, that's something I had to learn. Sorry, that's something I had to learn very the hard way because even now, okay, so I got sober from heroin. I've been sober for 6 years, going on 7. January 6th will be 7 years. But in 2015, I started dabbling in meth, for instance. And for
Mm-hmm.
two and a half, almost 3 years. I was, never got in trouble for drugs. I mean, as far as that goes, but and I never took it as lies, but that was like the whole even before swearing off alcohol. I was what I call a camouflage weekend warrior. I would call it, oh yeah, I drink on the weekends, but in reality, what I figured, for instance, my family didn't know when I was on the road traveling for work, I was drinking all the time,
Oh yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
but so when they just figured I was drinking during the week during on the weekends, but like I said, reality is I was on a concrete crew, so we were drinking every single night.
Well,
You know what I mean?
speaking of
Every
reality, but I'm getting
yeah,
confused with your story. So
good.
when were you drinking while you were away at work? What year was that?
Okay,
Was that
that was.
before your friend killed the?
Oh yeah, oh
Okay,
yeah,
I got you. I
oh
got. I'm still
absolutely,
waking
yeah,
up
yeah.
and I'm drinking
Prior to no, you're
Perrier.
good. Yeah, prior to swearing it off, and I was still, like I said, on the road for work when that happened.
Mm-hmm.
And then, like I said, yeah, I was thinking, man, I'm out of town. I'm here. I was in Colorado.
Mm-hmm.
Had flown up from Arizona, and I was like, man, God forbid, what happened if that happened to me or somebody, down in Arizona, one of my family members when I was up here, and
Yeah.
it was or out on the road. I mean, we had many. I used to travel the country pumping concrete and correctional facilities, believe it or not. And so we traveled cross country to do different jobs from Oregon to Florida, and there wasn't a single bar we didn't hit. Every night we drink for dinner. Some of the guys had to drink before they even got up to go to work. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? Because they
Yeah.
have the shakes, and I
Oh,
see this.
well, I get it. No,
And
I'm the.
yeah,
I would be. Right now the thought of having a beer in the morning is just totally is insane sounding.
right.
But when I was drinking, I would go by the local Circle K, like a little 7-Eleven store, and
Yes, sir.
buy a beer. And, oh, late night, I'm gonna have a couple drinks and then go to hit the bed. I was working third shift last night, and they knew who I was. They knew that I wasn't working third shift. They, I mean,
Right.
but I didn't care. There's no, hey, I gotta call someone else out with this. But this has been an
Yes,
incredible
sir.
story, and John, thanks so much, brother. I appreciate you letting me call you this early.
I appreciate you, Tom. Hey, thanks for everything, man.
All right, we'll see you. Thanks.
All right, bye.
Wow. So that's interesting. He swore off alcohol, but the heroin and the meth and all that, I don't think that's a good replacement for alcohol. But it's yeah, it's very interesting. But yeah, good for him. He sounds like he's sober now, and he's had a couple small rock bottoms of his own. And they said he's wearing an ankle bracelet, so maybe he's or something with parole. So yeah, man. Sometimes it takes someone getting killed or going to prison or going to jail or something before you know. They say, come on, I will do that. Let's see here. Let's see if we got any. A great topic because addiction is serious. I agree. Hey Tom, how you doing, my friend? I'm doing well. I drink about 4 pints a day of vodka. I'm scared to stop cold turkey. Daniel uh, De Leon the third. Daniel, never quit. No, here's the deal with go to a 7 day detox facility. Don't be embarrassed about it. Be embarrassed about drinking 4 pints of vodka a day. Go to your doctor. Say, hey, I got this problem, or better yet, go to the emergency room. Guys, if you go to the emergency room, they can't turn you away. By law, they cannot turn you away. And they'll bring in a facility or a treatment center to come in and they'll evaluate you. And if you don't have insurance or money to do it, they'll find it. They'll get, there's people with deep pockets who are giving money to the scholarship funds at all these treatment facilities. They'll find the money for you to go. Get your life together and, especially do not go. Daniel, do not, yeah, again, I tell everyone, I don't care if you drink 4 beers or 4 pints, talk to your doctor before doing anything. I'm not giving medical advice. I want to set that straight right now. Only medical advice I give is talk to your doctor. So, all right, let's see. Um, that's David says David Edmondson tip. If you have had a long time drinking heavily and are contemplating quitting, consider talking to your doctor. Withdrawal from heavy long-term drinking can be dangerous. Oh, gotta be extremely dangerous. Marie Bliss, going to a wedding today. I love listening to you talk. God bless Tom and stay the course. Thanks, Marie. Jake Hill, thanks for your service. Yeah, and the steps. One, I think the 12 step is you got to provide a service, and this is actually providing a service for me doing this. I know people are like, what the hell's Mabe doing? This ain't funny. Well, something is he going to start drinking beer on the show? Something he's got to do something funny. Daggone it. It's funny. Laura Booth is day 11. Man, Laura, thank you for giving us a heads up. Laura was quitting her alcohol, and I'm already feel like I want to drink this weekend. I'm already feeling like I want. Yeah, of course you do. It's a weekend, but don't celebrate 11 days. I got 11 days in and go drink. That'd be silly. Uh, Jim Gibbons, after drinking every day for 3 years, the first day I didn't drink was the best. Yeah, I remember Jim. Let's give Jim a call here in a second. It's one moment in time. Sometimes a day is too long. I gave up red wine, but still drink beer. LOS. From Dublin, Ireland. That's Ken Rafferty. Thank you, brother. Let's see here. This is Greg West. I was a junkie, alcoholic. I stole, fought. At 22, I walked into a country church and was born again. That was 1982. God helped me to help myself. Western Kentucky. Wow, Greg, I have to have you on the show one day. That's awesome. So yeah, some people on this show, some people are atheists who watch the show. Some people are Bible thumpers. Some people love the 12 steps. Some people hate the 12 steps. So it doesn't matter. We are all just. This is a very chill situation. I said chill. That's right. My kids said it's chill. It's chill. And fire. That's fire. This show's fire. We got young kids. So the show was designed just for, you know, us people who are wired like we're wired. It doesn't nothing to be embarrassed about. We are just, if you're watching the show right now, you there's a reason. I always say in every show, how can you tell if you got a drinking problem? If it causes problems. There, it's short and sweet. Somebody, oh, I never had a DUI. I never. Yeah, but I saw you cussing your 4-year-old out in the driveway yesterday. That didn't happen. But that's me. I would be drunk around the family and this and that, and they're like wondering who the hell is this guy? Someone took over Dad's body. I don't think they ever see me. I've always had a beer. I've always drank beer. When I went to and when I'm not drinking, I kid you not, I'm like a week away from buying an airplane, and when I am drinking, I'm a week away from being homeless. There's nothing good to come from, and we do it because we're self-medicating. All addiction derives from some kind of trauma, some kind of abandonment. Your mom didn't put jelly in your peanut butter sandwich or something when you're growing up. I was talking to my therapist. They have normal things. We did this and that. And my therapist said, Tom, that's not normal. Okay, I didn't know that. Last night we had a guy listen to the podcast last night. His dad took him to a bar when he was 8. It made the newspapers. You can Google it. Got him drunk. They had to take him away and put him in ICU or something. An 8-year-old kid. And speaking of which, I want to talk. I want to call Jim Gibbons right now because he was telling me some stories about his family um, drinking and such. And
Hey, hey,
hey, buddy, how are you?
day 32 in the books, and I'm doing way better than I was 32 days ago.
So we've been doing this because you started getting sober when you were watching Sober Talk. So we've been doing this show more than 32 days, I guess.
Yep. I actually, what it was, I was looking for something that fit what I needed, and lo and behold, it was you. The talk, sober talk.
That's a scary thought, Jim.
Yeah.
Tom Mabe got me sober.
Well, honestly, what it was, you and I've talked about this before, man. It's you being an alcoholic. People are so judgmental.
Absolutely.
People are like, you don't want you're like me. I mean, hell, I've been sober for 32 days now.
Mm-hmm.
I still haven't told my wife. I still have not told her.
She's wondering why do we have this extra money in the bank account?
Yeah, why do we have extra money? Why you're awful happy and awful nice and sweet now. The fact is, and I was in listening to the show today. That's the thing about it. You if you go, and I think this is part of the fear some people have about going to a rehab or a sober living type place. The first thing they ask you, you give all your information, Well, then you go to the doctor 6 months later. What's the first thing they ask you? Have you ever had alcoholism? Are you an alcoholic? They ask you a lot of questions
Yeah.
you may not feel comfortable sharing. We talked about my brother here, the other day. That was his thing. When he ended up having his issues, he checked into a rehab, and I think you touched on it a minute ago. He basically checked in as John Doe.
Yeah.
He checked in. He did not give him his name. He did not want that stigma to follow his name because he was kind of well known, and that's what worked for him. That's what it took. Now that said, I think he's up to year 25.
Yeah.
28. He's gone into prisons and helped counsel other alcoholics in prison because he figures, hey, at least this way I'm getting in the door that I can leave. I was headed for the door that they were going to close behind me. He felt like he was giving back because the road he was on, he was headed for jail, real jail.
Yeah, and I was like, I can't get life insurance because, I took naltrexone, years ago to quit drinking, or I admitted on my life insurance, have you ever, taken medication for alcohol? And I said, yeah, do you drink? Yeah, I did. And and this is when I was in my 2 years. And I've been turned away for life insurance. And most people will be, especially if you go into a treatment facility. And, but so what? I would be dead anyway if I kept on drinking. So screw the life insurance, but I want to leave my wife's new boyfriend, millions of dollars. I just want to make sure that the bills are paid and college is paid for. But yeah, so that stigmatism can follow you. It really can. So go ahead.
Well, and that's like I said, that's it. You don't know how many times whenever me and my wife would get into an argument, my first thought would be, you know what, man, I'm just gonna keep on drinking. Man, I see Nicolas Cage and leaving Las Vegas. That's how I'm gonna go out, man. Drink until I give up. She'll have all the insurance money, man. She'll be set for life. And at a certain point, I'm like, well, why the hell do I want to make her boyfriend well off someday?
Yeah.
Because I'm gonna go over. She's gonna have a paid house, a lot of money in the account, and I'm gonna be 6 foot under. Maybe hell actually is having to watch that life unfold for the rest of eternity. I don't think I want to do that.
If you're just now joining us, we're talking about not leaving your wife's new boyfriend a bunch of money with life insurance.
Yeah. Hey, that's just one of the benefits of being sober.
And we could joke about it, I can joke, but I can look back and, I say this. I wish I could go back with a eraser and erase all those embarrassing moments. But if you're one of the very lucky ones out there who hasn't never started drinking, don't do it, because there will be some oh my god moments. And even though you're drunk and you try to, I got tired of calling people up the next day and apologizing to them. I just, that was such a.
I had an aunt like that. I had an aunt that she would call you at midnight and she would. You remember when you were 4 years old and I changed your diaper and you peed on me? No, I really don't. But,
oh, that's awesome.
There seemed to be a lot of Tim Wilson moments in there somewhere. It's like, no, ma'am, I sure don't.
Wow.
But because here's the thing. When I was growing up, I jotted down a couple things. When I was growing up, there was a friend of the family. He was a firefighter. He was had a great life, man. Lived in a big. Now this is 1971, but he lived in a big $50,000 house up in St. Anthony's Church Road. Had money, had a great job, wife, kids, everything. But on his days off from the firehouse, he liked to drink beer.
Yeah.
Simple beer. You five alcohol grams, beer, no big deal. It cost him his career because he liked drinking one beer after another beer on his days off. Then it's like, well, I've got 6 hours before I have to report for my shift. I can have a couple more beers. And eventually he lost his whole career and ended up living pretty much out of a van. Now, he did finally find his redemption and got his life straight. But, here's this guy that lost his whole career. When I was growing up, there was a man named Mr. Louie that lived at the end of the street in an old garage. Everybody took care of him. Everybody took,
Mr. Louis.
Mr. Louis. Mr. Louis. We never really knew that much about him, but he would always stop at the news, the paper box, pull out the paper, and he would always read the stock reports in the paper. Later on, when he passed away, we found out that at one time he had actually been a lawyer and had lost his wife, his family, everything to drinking, and ended up living and eventually dying in an old garage that it was his little makeshift home at the end of the street that I grew up on. He crawled so deep into a bottle from his pain that he was never able to get out. And
Wow.
I look at these and go, as a kid, I didn't want to be like that. I didn't want to be when Dad would come home drunk and Mom and Dad. I didn't want to be like that. Alcohol is horrible. It's nasty. You ever had a drink of beer? It's awful. And then you get a little older and you get a little more complacent. And I sit now and look back at the night. It's funny because I was listening to your one caller was talking about drinking the 1.75 milliliter. That's how I learned economics. It's like, hey, 1.75 milliliters will give me 2 fists, and I think a half a pint.
That's how I learned math. Hey, I want to interrupt. You talk about taking a drink of beer. What did it? Have you ever? You were telling me last night on the phone. I called you. You had to talk me off the ledge about something, and you were telling me about. We were discussing drinking and about like someone in your family, a nephew's like having beer. You know, they thought it was cool.
Well, my brother, you know, God bless him, man. My brother has been through a journey in life, and he has learned from life, and that's the best thing that you can do is learn from life. But when he was younger, he thought it was funny to send his son, you know, go get me a couple beers out of the fridge, boy. He's 2 years old.
How old? You say 2 or 3?
Yeah, about between 2 and 3, right?
Okay.
Right in that
Gotcha. A toddler.
snotty nose,
Yeah.
the time frame. But he always thought it was funny because we'll call him RJ.
Mm-hmm.
RJ would take the beer can and pop it open for his dad, and then walk in there, take a couple drinks, and then hand it to his dad. Now,
This is a 2-year-old, 3-year-old.
2 to 3-year-old.
Yeah.
And you know, my brother thought it was funny. This is early 70s and mid 70s, and you know, that's my boy, just like his daddy, drink, you know, like
He
beer.
loves his Fall City beer. He's chip off the old block.
It didn't seem like it was that big of a deal. But then the kid started acquiring a taste for beer.
Was a kid in rehab at age 6? Was he like the only 6-year-old in rehab?
But to be honest with you, he was ready for it by 15 and 16.
Oh, so he did spend some time. Your phone is cracking up, Jim. It's mine or yours?
Oh, I'm sorry. How's that? Is that better?
Yeah. So, but your nephew did end up having a drinking issue. Had to go to rehab.
Yeah, he had a drinking issue and acted out a lot. I mean, he had had a lot of emotional issues. I believe one of his claim to fame was he gave a nun the finger in Catholic school. Let's see.
He flipped her off.
Yeah, he flipped her off.
Okay.
And so he had little emotional issues, but he ended up went to rehab. Met a girl that was there for a crack addiction.
Oh, that's the rehab loves are the best. They're the best.
Oh, absolutely, and they found love, so they ended up both getting out of rehab, found each other, and then decided to produce their own child. Which that child has had nothing but issues. He's 24 now, and well upon his way of making his mark in the world, but not a good mark.
Wow.
But the good thing is my nephew, as he got older, he started seeing the stupidity of what he was doing, and he did find help. But his dad was the one that said, "Son, you know, it was a mistake, the things I did when you were younger. I was an idiot. I see the error of my way." And together, they actually have a very successful business. nowadays, and
They own
are
do
doing
they own a
great.
treatment facility? Hey,
they,
I got
they,
Hey
they
Jim,
fix
I got to wrap it up in like 30 seconds 'cause I got this other guy I forgot I got to call too. But go ahead, wrap it up, finish.
Hey, no problem. But I'm just saying that man, what you're doing here is a great deal, man. This feels a lot more like just being able to rap with a couple friends and go, hey man, this is my issue. You're not judging me. I'm not judging you. To hear the stories. I mean, the nights I used to sit in the garage having a drink, and the next thing I know, I'll wake up laying on the floor freezing to death. I've done peed my pants because I drank so much I
Hmm.
passed out. It's like all of a sudden I'm going, hey, I wasn't the only one doing that.
Yeah,
It's
and this is such a laid back thing, you know. I do recommend, talking with someone who's a professional, not.
oh
But
yeah,
there's people in this forum and this, who watch Sober Talk, and listen to Sober Talk. They just have a lot of stories, and sometimes you can go, every time I left my therapist, I felt like drinking. There's many times I left the AA meeting, I felt like drinking. So I just wanted to do something that gave me an outlet to talk about it, and it just turns out to be this. It's kind of, but
yeah.
definitely continue those. If you are in AA, if that's your, I promise you, there's a lot of good to come from those steps. I promise you. All
But
right, go ahead.
and don't let it trick you because it's funny. Last night after I talked to you, first thing that happened was my brain said, hey Jim, why don't you ask your wife if she wants a drink? You can fix it for her. And next thing I know, I'm like, honey, would you like for me to fix you a drink? And I'm like I'm looking at that shot. I'm getting ready to put in her drink and going, you know what? All the times I've poured vodka down the drain and swore it off, I'm holding it, looking at it, and I said, you know what? It ain't worth 32 days. I'm not gonna feel like crap in the morning and drink this stuff.
For
Fix
one
her,
shot, right? Yeah. Screw that. Screw that.
but yeah, but it does it. Your brain is always waiting to try to trick you back into that lifestyle.
Yeah.
Always.
While you're sitting there trying to get sober, your addiction brain is over in the corner doing push-ups, and it will
Yeah,
be
yeah.
strong. It can and
You're
will
gonna
be.
die, man.
Brother, nice talking to you. I'll talk to you soon, man.
Thanks,
See you, buddy. Thank you so much. That's our buddy Jim Gibbons. Yeah, I've heard that in a meeting or something. While you're trying to be good, and 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 your brain gets pissed off at you. You're depriving. You get grumpy and this and that, and you're like, who left this shoe on the floor? I tripped over, almost killed myself. And your brain is just pissed. It's pissed that you're depriving it of the alcohol and all the dopamines that it would create and whatever. And so that will go away. I promise you guys, that will go away. We have time for one more call, and I gotta tell you, I like the morning shows as well as I do. So if I could do 8 a.m. and 8 p.m., Tom, you're a workaholic. You just work so much, and you're a hard worker. No, man, I just hate being at home. I hate my family. That's what it feels like. That doesn't feel. I'm never home. I'm taking my son Josh to ENT this morning. So right when I get out of here, I want to hightail home to grab him. But no, I love my family very much. But let's call. I think it's. Did we call this guy? My brain is foggy still from. I don't know who I called first.
Hello.
Hey, it's Tom Mabe. How are you?
Good. How you doing, Tom?
I'm good. I didn't have you on the show already this morning, did I?
No, you
Oh,
did not.
oh yeah, nice chat. Bye bye. Now, hey, so tell me who am I? This is Justin.
Yep, this is Justin.
What part of the world are you in?
So I am over in Delaware, Ohio. It's a
Delaware, Ohio.
little north of Columbus.
No, never has there been a more confusing town and state. I'm in
No, I tell people I'm from Delaware.
California, Kentucky. Okay. So are you a drinker or what's your poison? Did you used to drink? You still drink? What's happening?
It used to be a little bit of everything.
Garbage? They call it a garbage can? Yeah.
Yeah, that was me. A lot of alcohol. Started drinking when I was an early teenager. Got into prescription drugs as a teenager.
I got into Prilosec. I got into Prilosec. And it was not the over counter stuff, the prescription strength Prilosec. But
yeah.
I'm going on 4 hours sleep. But So, and did you do alcohol on top of all the the pain meds and everything else you were doing?
Oh yeah, I was a pretty heavy drinker. You know, it was liquor only. I didn't drink beer. It took too long. I was a really heavy drinker. I remember blacking out, 15, 16 years old,
Oh boy.
um,
Yeah.
and it all came. I've been listening to the show, and I've heard a lot of similarities. But I had a pretty traumatic childhood. My mom was an addict.
Hmm.
Um, and then she disappeared for a long time. When she came back around, she wanted to be the cool mom, and
Yeah.
at 16 years old, she'd go to the liquor store for me and my friends, and she'd give us a place to drink on the weekends. And I mean, at the time, I didn't realize how crazy and unhealthy it all was. I was just having fun. I was a teenager, um, but it was all downhill from there. One night, I was drunk, being an idiot, broke my hand, had to have surgery. They gave me a shitload of, pardon my French, a bunch of
It's
pain
okay.
pills, and I was addicted to those. Started off, the Vicodins, the Percocets. It was kind of before the opioid epidemic had taken off, so there wasn't a lot of awareness about it, and they kind of
Hmm.
just ripped me off of them, and I was addicted, but I didn't know it. Um, Moved to getting them on the street. Before long, it was heroin. Um, Got into heroin for a few years, pretty heavy, um, and was still drinking heavy too. Um, and then one day I just kind of woke up. I lost my mom. Uh, she died at 47 years old, of about her eighth stroke. She was very hard on herself, lifelong alcoholic, drug addict.
Wow.
Um, and that kind of sent me in a downward spiral. Um, but I have a son, and luckily one day it kind of just hit me that the whole cycle. I realized my depression and anxiety all came from my childhood and the things my mother put me through. And I realized I was going to do the same thing to my son. Um, and as soon as I had that thought, it became pretty easy for me. I quit heroin cold turkey 5 Halloweens ago this Halloween. Uh, and yeah, started drinking heavy again after I quit the drugs. Um, I was clean, but I wasn't happy. Still,
Right,
I was
right. That's yeah.
numbing.
Being sober and clean is one thing, but being sober, clean, and happy is another thing. So, what? So, how long have you been sober now?
So 5 years this Halloween from
The,
drugs.
okay.
And January 5th will be 2 years from drinking.
Oh man, Speaking of Halloween, that's a big. I don't even know if we're having it. I think our neighborhood, the kids are wearing masks anyway. Go and have trick or treating. But we would have. I would do Halloweenies in the driveway, and across the way, my neighbor he would do beer. So like you get a hot dog at my house and you get a beer at his house, and not for the
One
kids, but
stop shop.
yeah, and it was just we had fire pits going and it may be a tad challenging. That's but I've done two Halloweens uh sober, and I think the
Awesome.
yeah. So not I was 4 and 5 years old. I did the two Halloweens. I'm teasing. I'm sorry. It's such a serious topic, and I'm over here being sleep deprived, and I'm
No,
being
listen.
uh,
Comedy is what gets us through it. I mean, I'm able to laugh at my experiences now. And I'm a big believer that that's one of the only reasons I'm able to keep going because I can laugh at it all and
yeah,
say, yep, I was an idiot, and you got to find humor in it.
absolutely, absolutely, man. Uh, what about how did you how did you quit? How did you go to a facility? Did you detox? Did you white knuckle it? Did you do steps or did you just quit on your own?
Well, to be 100% honest with you, I didn't. I had tried rehab facilities a few times, and they just, in my opinion, wanted to put you on something else, that they could charge you for, and I didn't like that. Everyone, yeah, I know it works for some people, but for me, that wasn't the thing. Um, so I just laid in bed and toughed it out. If I'm being 100% honest, um, had a little herbal remedies that helped me out through it.
No,
I think
I got you. You know,
I think we're missing something there with recovery, and at least with the opioid epidemic.
let me tell you something. I'm one of my side hustles. I'm in the hemp business, and
Oh, great, great.
I've studied the endocannabinoid system. I know about all the receptors and all those components in that plant. And I'm not suggesting people go out and smoke pot, but
No, of course.
when you have there's a lot of benefits that come from that plant, and it's not just THC and CBD. There's other components, other cannabinoids, and I I I think I would rather be a pothead than and I'm not a pot guy. I don't like pot, but I do take CBD oil with the full
Right.
spectrum, which has 0.3% uh,
Yep.
THC in it, and it supercharges all those other. But so yeah, I get that. So you did, yeah, heck, hell, hemp was the number one pharmaceutical up until 1937 until they banned it with the Marijuana Tax Act. So
Yep.
that was like
Exactly.
they should have never removed it from the doctor's tool bag. So that's a whole other conversation. I'm totally into.
Definitely.
If anybody wants to find out more about, we got hempwellnessfarm.com, hempwellnessfarm.com, and there's a great documentary on Netflix called A Life of Its Own, and it's freaking amazing. A Life of Its Own.
I'm gonna have to check that out
It
myself
is.
today.
So, but now, are you happy now? So you're sober. You're off the pain pills. You're off the alcohol.
Yep.
And are
So
you? How are you making yourself happy? How are you dealing with an addictive brain besides just telling it to shut up all the time?
the biggest key for me was mental health. My
Mm,
mental health. I'm a big believer that mental health is tied pretty closely to addiction issues. Um, and that's what it was for me. I experienced a lot of trauma at a very young age. Um,
yeah.
when I was a teenager, uh, mental health awareness was. I'm 33. I'm
Okay.
not real old, but I feel like the awareness has just kind of taken off.
Yeah.
Maybe these last 5 to 10 years. Um, so I was just an upset kid. That needed to get over it, and no one really understood what my issue was, and I didn't understand what my issues were. So I just kept drinking and doing the pills and numbing all of that. I mentioned my mom was an addict. She left when I was pretty young. Um, I was just self-medicating for a really long time, and so when I finally got clean, I'd always been against medication. Um, but it finally hit me that I was using heroin to cope with these things, so I might as well try something a little better for me. So I started therapy, and it changed my life.
Oh, amen.
Talking
Yeah.
to a
Yeah.
therapist and
Absolutely. Yeah.
figured my brain out a little bit and figured out the things I needed to balance it out. And I take medication daily, and it changed my life. I mean, I tell everyone, hey, go talk to someone. Don't be ashamed of it. Go talk to someone. It will literally change your life.
My therapist loves the show, and she's a highfalutin. Uh, they don't. She doesn't even take my insurance, but she's so good that I'll pay out of pocket, and she's not cheap. Again,
Yep.
but she loves this show. She loves AA as well. Um, but this is a really cool place for us, so everyone to stop at and just and we gotta when I remember as a kid, hey, can I spend the night at Johnny's house? And Johnny's dad was in AA. No, his dad's an alcoholic. He can't go. He will kill you. Whatever. Such a
Yeah.
we
Yeah.
vilify, and if you have any history of drug addiction or alcoholism or rehab or anything, you will be it will prevent you from getting certain things. And I wanted to say this, but I got to go take my kid to the doctor. But a buddy of mine sells insurance, and his son uh, tried to do something stupid. This is another state. It's down in Hilton Head, and he's a very he knows the insurance world, and his son tried to commit suicide, and he it was kind of a cry for help type thing, but nonetheless. Uh, he took him he went to the bank and got a bunch of cash. And he went to a facility and found the dog. He said, "No, I'm not telling you his name. Just help him. I do not want this on his record because he had a problem. He was going to go to college. He's going to play
Right.
ball. So there's just that you can tell your insurance folks that Yeah, I drink, like on the weekends. I kick a few back, and you're fine. You tell them that, no, I quit drinking. I've been sober for 7 years, and I went to treatment facility, got some real help. Nope, you're instantly declined for life insurance. Buddy, that's a great share.
Hey, I appreciate the time, Tom.
No, thank you, and thanks for being on the show, man. I love to talk with you some more. And we didn't get to one of my other callers. We could call him tonight, and I'll talk to you soon, brother. Okay? All right. So, guys, thanks for watching the early morning edition of Sober Talk. I'm glad you're here. If you want to watch if you look in the description of this broadcast of this, podcast live, you'll find links to the podcast. If you want to become a supporter of the show, it's like $5 a month. You can cancel anytime. It just helps me continue to keep the show going. I'm getting ready to hire a person to come in and help. So I love you guys, man. Be sure to share this page and anyone who could use it. And if you have a drinking problem, it's no big deal. It's truly no big deal. It's just maybe you got to deal with it. But don't be embarrassed about it. Love you guys. Talk to you soon.